So, ndị otu usekwu foods, ndị nwe TikTok, daalụkwanụ. Samuel Olalere, anyị na-amụ Igbo ebe a. This is our Igbo class. And then, so, it's another wonderful opportunity to be here. Ikwu ihe gbasara asụsụ Igbo. Right. Otu ihe ị ga-emere anyị bụ ka ị na-abata, biko kesara anyị ihe omume a, kesara anyị ihe anyị na-eme ebe a. Please go ahead and share with your contacts, and let's have everybody to start together. All right. I can atụ anya ndị na-esonyere anyị na YouTube and many more people from TikTok. MC Tazi, Dalokwa. Right. Okay. Kedu onye na-esonyere anyị na YouTube? Who do we have on YouTube? You are welcome. Let me share mine as well. Okay. Kingsley, you're welcome. I'm sharing with my own contacts. So let's do the same, please. Let's share, and kandi mmadụ wee mara na ya ebidola is important. Hey, yeah. Chinenye Kedo, you're welcome. Thanks for coming in. Ama m na ikuku gị ga-ekweghị ka anyị nọrọ na class ruo mgbe anyị ga-emecha taa. Where? All right. Onye dị na-abịa ha na-emetụrụ anyị aka n'akara ịhụnanya. Chinenye, ana m ekele gị n'ihe ị na-eme. Ị na-eleba anya n'ihe na-eme na Facebook mgbe ọbụla anyị tinyere ihe ebe ahụ. Daalụ. Iso n'otu ndị nkụzi Igbo anyị ji eme ọnụ. All right. Okay. Francine, daalụ. And Francine bụ Asanwa baby. I see you. Okay. One more minute while we wait for more people to join. Let me share again with all of these my contacts. Oge rugokwano. All right, and we use that opportunity to wait a little bit for those that are coming. Ụmụ klaasị m na-abịazi akwụkwọ n'azụ oge. Ama m ihe mere nke a. Ọ dị ka ha chọrọ iso na ndị ga na-emebiri anyị regista kwa ya. Okay. All right, let's go back. So, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I know na-ewepụta ihe ọmụmụ a na nkwago n'ama social media atọ ndị a akpọrọ aha. Unu abụ ndị na-abịa unu abụghịzi ndị ọhụrụ. Chifoman, ndewo. There were circle foods for the roses. Maka ndị na-abịa ọhụrụ ka anyị ji na-ama ọkwa ụfọdụ. Mana ndị na-abịa ebe a kwa izu maọbụ ndị na-abịakarị ndị ịbịala ugboro abụọ, atọ, anọ. Anyị na-atụ anya tupu anyị enwee ihe ọmụmụ nke izu na-abịa abịa, gbaa mbọ kọọrọ otu onye maọbụ abụọ maka ihe ọmụmụ anyị na-eme ebe a, karịchasịa onye ị maara ga-erite uru na ya. Okay, we expect a kind of evangelization amongst Igbo scholars, Igbo speakers, Igbo students. Ọ bụrụ na ihe anyị na-eme ebe a na-amasị gị, gosi ya n'ụzọ dị iche. And ụzọ dị iche bụkwanụ nke na-agaghị ata arụ. Ihe anyị chọrọ bụ nkwado. Ụfọdụ n'ime unu ahụgo ozi ekele maọbụ okwu mmalite nke m zipụtara na vidio gbasara ihe anyị na-akwado ime n'afọ a. Na vidio ahụ anyị kelere ndị niile na-akwado ihe anyị na-eme ebe a, mana anyị nọ na-arịọ nkwado. Okay, it's a very, very needed thing to have the support of the Igbo community. But if you are close to Igbo language, either by virtue of being a learner or a teacher, not just a speaker, you will bear with me that it is not something that is very common among the Igbo speakers to be aware, to be aware of their duty, their expected responsibility to be part of the promotion of Igbo language. So, ọtụtụ ụmụafọ Igbo, ọ dịbe ha ka ọ wụ ihe ha kwesịrị ime. So, for those that come to this class every week, for those living in Nigeria, you spend your data, you spend your time. I know neighbor for 2 good hours. Some of you, your internet will knock you out, you will come back, it will knock you out again, you will knock yourself back in. That shows a lot of courage. That shows a lot of interest and support. But we need more. So if you are a person who has something to do with Igbo language, not just speaking, you have the concern we have here of the problem Igbo language is facing, and culture for that matter. You know that we all owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our culture. We owe this to our identities to be in the forefront of the promotion of Igbo language. Ọ bụrụ na ị nọ na WhatsApp, ị ga-ahụ na ọ na ị nọ na WhatsApp karịrị otu maọbụ abụọ. Ị ga-ahụ na ọtụtụ mgbe, ụbọchị niile, a na-ezigharị ihe gbasara ihe niile ndị ọzọ na-eme. Ihe gbasara ndị na-agba egwu, ndị na-agụ egwu, ndị na-eme ejije n'elu nkwago. Ị ga-ahụ na people nwere a lot of interest in sharing ihe gbasara okwu Chukwu, ihe gbasara okwu ndọrọndọrọ ọchịchị na ihe niile ndị ọzọ. It is something that is very easily available, and people continue to do copy and paste. You don't always see people sharing contents, making them go viral, contents that are supporting or promoting this, supporting the promotion of Igbo language. So that is a problem. And that is the problem we are facing and the one we are dealing with. Ya nwa mere m ji na-arịọ anyị na mbido okwu m n'oge a n'ụbọchị taa si na ọ bụrụ na ị na-abịa ebe a kamgbe anyị bidoro ihe ọmụmụ a kamgbe afọ gara aga, gị wee bụrụ onye na-abịa ebe a na-enwe mmasị n'ihe anyị na-eme ebe a, nke bụ na ị na-egosi na oge a ị na-eji abata ebe a wee nọọ otu awa maọbụ abụọ, ọ bụghị nke efu, ọ bụghị nke ị na-atụfu atụfu. Ọ dị mkpa ka ị mara na a na-atụ anya, Igbo na-atụ anya na ị ga-enyekwa aka mekwuo ihe ndị ọzọ nke gụnyere ịhụ na ị were ihe a dịka ozi ọma, were ya dịka ozi ọma gaa zigara ụmụafọ Igbo niile ndị ị maara, n'ihi na ka ebe eziokwu bụ na ile ihe anyị na-eme ebe ị ga-ama na ọtụtụ ndị Igbo bụ ndị ihe anyị na-akụzi ebe a kwesịrị ka ha gee ntị ya. Anyị kwenyere na okwuchukwu mere Chibọ ụbọchị ụka. Beatrice, daalụ nne m. O daalụ, you're welcome. Anyị kwenyere na okwuchukwu, kwenyere na Chineke. Ọtụtụ n'ime anyị bụ ndị na-ekpere Chineke site n'ụzọ nke Christianity. Nke a na-eme ụbọchị Sọnde niile maọbụ ndị nke na-aga na Satọde. Anyị ejikere kwalie gawa ka anyị gaa nụrụ otu okwuchukwu ahụ kwa nke ya na-ekwuru anyị kemgbe a mụrụ anyị, nke ekwuru ndị nne na nna anyị ha na ndị nna nna na nne nne anyị ha. Ọ bụghị ọtụtụ mgbe ka anyị na-asị mba, okwuchukwu a ekwukarịala ya. Anyị hụrụ onwe anyị dịka ndị na-enwe agụụ, n'ihi na ihe a na-agwa anyị n'ihe gbasara okwuchukwu ka esi edobe mkpụrụ obi gị, n'ihi na anyị niile na-achọ mgbe anyị bichara ndụ n'ụwa a, kedu ebe ọzọ anyị ga-enweta onwe anyị. Ị gaa n'ụlọ ụka, agwa gị ya taa, Adaeze Junior, you are welcome, thanks for coming in. They will tell you you need to preserve your soul after everything that happens here. And it is something. Nonso Adichie Ndewo Kedo, thanks for coming in on Instagram. So iwe wee bụrụ onye na-enwe mmasị na-aga ụka kwamgbe dịka agụụ ahụ na-agụ anyị mere anyị na-eji aga, n'ihi na anyị chọrọ ịnata ngọzi n'aka Chineke. Ana m ama anyị aka n'ihu. I'm challenging us, ụmụafọ Igbo. There is a huge burden. Enwere ihe nọ na ubu anyị bụ ibu na anyị arụ, na-achọ inyitụ anyị ala n'ihe gbasara asụsụ anyị na omenala anyị, ịkwalite ya. So if this huge burden has not occurred to you in this 21st century, the year 2026, I'm using this opening remark to open your eyes, to say, please let your eyes be open, so that you will begin to see that you are coming here every week, spending 1 to 2 hours with me while we dissect Igbo language is not just enough. It's not a waste. One, you're tapping on the screen to support the program, whether you are on Instagram, on TikTok, or YouTube. You're sharing this program. You're giving gifts and all of that. It's not a waste. Neither is it even enough. And that is why I'm using this opportunity to call us, you all that have been part of this class or that have been benefiting from it. Emitere m otu ụkọchukwu anyị na ya dị na mma, m na-amaghị na ọ na-abịa klaasị a. O wee kọrọ m na ọ na-abịa klaasị, amaghị m na ọ ya nwa, o wee gwa m na kamgbe ya na-abịa klaasị a na ọtụtụ ihe. He said that I have been unlearning to relearn things I thought I knew in Igbo language. And I also want to tell you, I am also following and joining some other people's teachings about Igbo culture, Igbo identity, that has exposed me to unlearn and relearn. And so, ụmụnne na ụmụnna m, ụmụafọ Igbo, my brothers and sisters, I am urging us, as we have found benefit in coming to this class every week, just like we found benefit, or we expect that our going to church every Beatrice, why? Dịka anyị hụtara onwe anyị dịka ndị ọ bụ na anyị gaa ụka, anyị ga n'okwu Chukwu ka ị ga-emejupụta mmụọ anyị wee dozie obi anyị maka eluigwe na ihe niile ndị ahụ. I am asking us to attach almost similar importance. Ash, I watched African soccer. I did, Ash. So that it is not just enough to attend this service, this church here every Monday, but to as well invite your family to it. Okay? Sensei Uchi Kedo, you're welcome. So I use this few minutes of speech to welcome us all to this class today. My name is Dr. Ima Asonye, and I am the one that has been teaching you. So I'm your teacher. You are my student. And in my class, I discipline my students when they come late, when they did not bring handwork, when they want to spoil my register. So today, I thank you all that came early. You are not one of those that spoiled my register. So welcome. I ga-aga n'ihu n'ihe ọmụmụ nke ụbọchị taa, and I appreciate you all. Okay, so n'izu gara aga, ebe anyị kwụsịrị bụ mgbe anyị na-ele anya mkpụrụokwu Igbo ndị a na-enweta site na ịgbakwunye nganiru o maọbụ ọ n'ihu isi ngwa. Last week we stopped at adding the prefix o or ọ to the verb root. Okay, Dozman 14, Dalo, thanks for joining on Instagram. So when we did add the o or ọ prefix to the verb root, we realized such words as we see here, dịka ọmụmaatụ, nganiru o agbakwunyere ya me, which is do, which is a verb. We saw that we were able to realize a word, ome maọbụ ome, nke gbanweziri wee bụrụzie aha, which turned to become a noun. So this type of word, we say it is derived or a derivative. So we were able to derive a word that is in a different class or category from a particular category, from verb to noun. Okay, ịga n'ihu achọrọ m ichetara anyị na anyị ka na-elekwa anya ụzọ esi enweta mkpụrụ okwu Igbo dị iche iche n'asụsụ Igbo na ụzọ esi ede ha, dezie ha nke ọma, n'ihi na anyị sịra ọtụtụ ndehie ihe a na-edehie n'Igbo. We said that several instances of miswriting the Igbo word or Igbo sentence is coming from the fact that we hardly understand how an Igbo word works. So if we look at and understand the functions of Igbo words and know them, it will help us know when we write them correctly or incorrectly. So when we know that a word such as O is a prefix, not a pronoun in a string or construction where it is attached to me, do, we will know that prefixes and their verbs or verb roots are written together, as opposed to when we see a word O as a pronoun, and when it is going to be working with another word, the word it should be working with, which also is a verb, we don't write them together. So we cannot put the pronoun to me to realize ome. We are not going to be looking at a different construction. So this is me calling us back to what we're doing here. Ndewono, mmadụ niile. Right. Okay. Ndị na-esote anyị na YouTube, TikTok, ndị na-abata na Instagram, ekelekwa m unu. Daalụnụ. Big Mama, ndewo. Right. So I am speaking Igbo and speaking English as well. If you have been here in my class, you know that is a method of my teaching to carry everybody along. A lot of people stop by who are not native Igbo speakers, and they realize we are teaching language here and it's Igbo language, and they have interest, and they stay. Okay, and some others are people who work with me in Omenka app, who are also not native Igbo speakers, but find it very useful being in this class every time. Onyedika from Texas, Dalo O Ndewo, thanks for joining us. Ume Nkiru Ndewo Wanyoma, Dalo Ekelemgi. I'm glad you all are letting me know you are here. Appreciate that. Ikeduru, Ikedi, I believe, Guru from Instagram, Ndewo. Thanks for joining us. All right. So I appreciate you all. Unemela. So keep tapping on the screen for us. Keep showing your support to the class. Okay. All right. So that is where we are, right? And we have been testing how different word particles work when we use them. So I'm going to wipe off to this that we have on the board, which is where we stopped last week. So I heard Obi bo ome ihe ngwa ngwa. Obi bo oza ụlọ. dịka na anyị hụrụ Obi na-azụ ụlọ ngwa ngwa. Obi na-eme ihe ngwa ngwa. Obi na-azụ ụlọ ya, and all of that. Okay, so I'm going to say that today is the 19th and we're still dealing with aspects of the Igbo word. All right, na class here, akụzierela m anyị ihe gbasara, emetụla m aka n'ihe gbasara ndakọrịta ụdaume. Ndakọrịta ụdaume. Nna dubum. Nna, gịnị wụ ezigbo aha gị? Daalụ, thanks for joining. Is it Nna Dubem or what? You know that the names we answer on social media, sometimes they don't really represent us. Chukwu Nna Dubem. I thought as much. Chukwu Nna Dubem. Ndewo nwanne nwoke Chukwu Nna Dubem. Right. I am happy you wrote out, or you write out, your name in full. Chukwu Nna Dubem means may God guide me. May God always go with me. All right. Don't mind me. I'm always scanning through Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So to make sure that I am following those that are, writing or asking questions, please feel free. Ask questions, drop a comment. Online programs on social media, irrespective of the platform, they do better when people, interact. So just keep dropping comments, drop love and all of that. So let the algorithm improve the presence of the class to know that, oh, people are really, enjoying what we're doing here. Okay, that is the benefit. So, and this works very well on YouTube. It works very well on TikTok as well. So if you're on TikTok, it's just to tap on the screen. The more likes or love we have, the better for the algorithm, for this class. So the same goes to YouTube, as well as Instagram as well. So Dalono, Madunile, those who are sharing, those who are, liking the program, we appreciate you a great deal. All right. So, akụzierela m anyị ihe gbasara ndakọrịta ụdaume nke a na-egosikarị site n'ikewa ụdaume asatọ enwere na Igbo, n'ọnọdụ ndị nke bụ ụdaume arọ na ụdaume mfe. Arọ wee bụrụ nke bidoro na A. Ndewo Theophilus, daalụ, thanks for joining. A, U, E, okay, and then I will nwete A, O, A, E, O, U, then A, O, E, okay, ndị a bụ ụdaume mfe. Now, n'Igbo, dịka Igbo nwere mkpụrụ edemede 36, the letters of the alphabet of the Igbo are 36 in number, okay? Then we have various different ways of classifying or categorizing the mkpụrụ edemede. Ndewo Ima Steve, Dalo O, thanks Imela, thanks for joining. So otu ụzọ anyị na-eji ekewa mkpụrụ edemede Igbo, one of the ways we categorize the letters of the alphabet is by looking at whether they are vowels or consonants. So out of the 36, we count out 8 vowels, and then we say the rest are consonants, right? But when you look at I think 36 minus 8 will be what? Is it 22 or what? Boom, boom, boom. Thereabout. Yeah. So when we look at the consonants again, IJ, Ofon, what's your full name? You're welcome on Instagram. Dalo. Okay. So when you now see the consonants, 28. All right, they will name Chineye. Out of the 28 of the consonants that are left, when we remove 8 vowels, we now have 2 that are called mirudume. Okay, mirudume. Okay. In English, we don't say they are semi-vowels always. We call them that as well because hana pagwa dika semi-vowels. But we also call them syllabic nasals. And mkpụrụ edemede ndị a dị naanị abụọ, syllabic nasals. Chinenye daalụ o. Ha bụ ndị a na nke a. Okay. So what we are discussing now does not occur in English language, okay? The English language does not have these characters. So I do not know of any other language. I'm sure Igbo has them. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about these characters. In terms of sounds, in fact, what distinguishes them is their sound property. And in terms of their sound property, what distinguishes them is their articulatory particles or property or method. That is how they are produced. Okay? Now, because of how they are produced, they are completely different from their variant or their brother or sister or their counterpart, N and M, who are also not syllabic nasals, so consonants. Syllabic nasals. So I gaji ihu ihe dị iche n'etiti ndị nke anyị kpọrọ consonants na ndị nke anyị kpọrọ syllabic nasals. So consonants bụ mgbochi ume. Nke a bụ nyirudume ka anyị na-akpọ ya n'Igbo. Nyirudume. Okay. So in Igbo language, these ones do not behave as these ones. Neither do these ones behave as these. And like I said, their behavior, the difference in their behavior is marked by the way they are produced. Okay? Thank you, Useku Foods. All right. Arinze Eke Ndewo, thanks for following. Ọta na esonye na class nke mbụ. Daalụ o. Anyị na-anabata gị. Okay. So these ones cannot behave like these ones. Neither do these ones behave like this. Okay? So ọkpụkpara agwa ha abụọ dị iche. N'ihi nke a, aga m egosi anyị. N'ihi nke a, anyị na-ahụta mirudume, the syllabic nasals, na ha enwere ike ịgbakwunye ha na isi ngwa maọbụ ngwa wee nweta okwu ọzọ. Okay? Unlike these two. So, in effect, these are sounds and behave more as sounds like than letters. They are sounds and letters, okay? Gracious hearts. Ndewo. Thanks for joining us on Instagram. These are sounds and letters. But the problem we have here is it is even more difficult to pronounce this alone. But it's also difficult to pronounce this. Some of the times, all of the times, a consonant is difficult to pronounce in Igbo sometimes without a vowel attaching to it. Okay. All right. So anyị gaji ịhụ ụzọ anyị nwere ike iji nweta ọmụmaatụ ebe mirudume na-agbakwunye n'ihu ngwa. Now, let me say this first of all. These ones have the capability of becoming prefixes. Okay? These ones cannot be prefixes. Okay. And these ones can only be found as prefixes, except when there is a particular word where they are and that word undergoes what we call reduplication. That is, I want to have gbakwunye na isi ngwa wee mebe mkpụrụokwu. Mkpụrụokwu ha mebere wee bụrụkwa nke ịgba nke ịmụbara onwe ya. That is a property we call reduplication. Okay? Ellen, you're welcome. Dalo. I saw Oguchi or Oluchi as well. Thanks for joining on Instagram, on TikTok. So, but this does not have the property we are looking at and we're talking about. And so, the syllabic nasals are going to be the last prefixes we are going to look at in this class. They are the last category of prefixes. And like I said, these ones, which are mere consonants, do not take the position of prefixes. They can go before the verb to help us form an additional word. Okay? Right. This, when I mentioned one of their distinctive property is by their production, which is pronunciation. We produce, articulate, or pronounce the syllabic nasals by sucking in the air with which we speak. Nkume aineji ekwu okwu, the air with which we speak, which is called articulatory airwaves. It's an articulatory airwave. Nkume eji ekwu okwu maọbụ eji akpọpụta ihe. Most of the times, it is the airwave that is released. And depending on the different parts of the mouth that are involved, which we call the articulators. Depending on the different parts of the mouth that are involved, the airwave can be released explosively or gradually with slight obstruction, and sometimes with a hissing sound or even with a silent sound, but the release will be sustained. Other guys, a solemn grammar career. I've spoken a lot of grammar. That is also because achorom kamadu niile ghọta this aspect of what I'm teaching. Ike diko kedo. All right. Please, anytime that I lost you, let me know, okay? Beatrice. Nemana masopokwa na agatokwara na akwụkwọ small. Abajirim chalk. So Beatrice. Okay. All right. So most times we release the air with which we speak. It is released. It is the air that is being released. Dora digital. Nsowade, Dora digital. Nsowade. Dalo. It's good to always have you here. Good. But in the case of the syllabic nasals, in the case of Murudumea, Abuonda, we suck in the airwave with which we speak. We inhale in a manner technically called implosion rather than explosion. Okay, so we inhale. So, achọrọ m ka isoro m kpọpụta mkpụrụ edemede ma ọ bụ mkpụrụ ụda ndị a. And You find out there's hardly any difference between the two sounds, except where I place my tongue or where how my mouth is shaped. For my lips are spread somehow. The tip of my tongue goes to touch the alveolar, which is the abo. What's it called again? The teeth ridge or the hard palate, apo. Okay. Now, when I'm trying to pronounce my mouth is closed, my lips closed, and I inhaled okay, difference. So, odiota na madabuonda ni na me. Okay. So if you see that when I say me, I have somewhat added a vowel for me to be able to pronounce this and this, me. Because what I'm pronouncing here is ni, me. It is not the same with this. So the syllabic nasal does not sound out because it does not take a vowel. It's not being followed by a vowel. So it can't take a vowel for me to produce the sound. Okay? So you can observe that I'm slowing down in the explanation of this. Tony Chizo, Ndewo, thanks for joining us on Instagram. Dalo, Igbo kaina kuzieba or I'm neighbor one Igbo. You will find this class interesting. Learning how to write Igbo. Right. So I cannot pronounce the syllabic nasal adding a vowel to it because it does not accept a vowel. Rather than accepting a vowel, IJ often, what is your challenge? Let me know. Can you explain? And I bet you, whatever that challenge is, you are not alone. Several hundred people watching and attending this class every week. I bet you may have your challenge. But I would like to get the explanation of what that challenge is. Okay. So now I have tried to explain this too, okay, the syllabic nasal. All right. So pay attention. You will get it. Is a like after this background explanation, is a very simple thing to understand. Okay. They are a very unique set and it's a close set. Naanị ha abụọ bụ ụmụnne na-akpa agwa ka ha si akpa n'Igbo. I see. Okay. All right. So you are a native English speaker. Do you also, what is your relationship with Igbo language? Are you an Igbo born but English native speaker? I would like to know. Okay. Right. So having drawn the difference, the contrast between these two, my assignment today has nothing to do with this guy in the first place. These two guys, we're still going to meet them, okay? All right, I see. Good. So your type is the reason we are doing this class. IJ, I believe your first name is IJ. Several Igbo born who happen to be born outside of Igbo land consider English their L1, their first language, which on its own is a misnomer. It's bad. Because if the parents did what they are supposed to do, no matter what a person is born, their cultural identity triggers a linguistic heritage to come into play through the immediate environment of that child. And what I mean is, if the parents were fluent Igbo speakers and be conscious of speaking Igbo to the baby that is born, that baby will begin to acquire Igbo language, irrespective whether they are born in Russia, Germany, New Zealand, or wherever. But when we parents fail in this duty, we begin to have several Igbo persons who consider another language their first language. As complicated as that may be, this class is for the adults who found themselves in that challenge, who want to make a U-turn towards their linguistic heritage to be able to say fully, I am Igbo, because I bear the tongue. So when you are in that position, this is the right place for you to be, IJ. And I'm glad you're here. Thank you for expressing. Yes. So, Odoziaku Nneka, ndewo, daalụ. Thanks for coming in on YouTube. We didn't have as n'azụ oge n'oge a, Odoziaku Nneka. Isozi na ndị na-emebiri m register. Dịkwanụ mma, ndewo. All right. So, the syllabic nasals. That's why we're doing this today. So, that is being produced the way I did produce it now, we know that they always come in front of a verb root. And when they do, they affect the verb root. Okay? Right. Their presence when they relate to the verb root is very, very different, like unique, and they are dynamic. They can produce different kinds of words for us, depending on the context of our conversation. So I may and all of that as verb, okay? Now, we had may. We also saw, okay, let's use that. Now, the other thing m chọrọ ikwu, ihe ọzọ m chọrọ ịrụtụ aka bụ na mmadụ abụọ ndị a nsogbu adị nne m. Mmadụ abụọ ndị a ọ bụghị mkpụrụ okwu niile ka ha na ha na-emekọrịta ihe. They are highly selective of the words they can relate with, highly selective of the words they can interact with. So it is important for us to know that. So, and I want to say this. Today, there's another controversy that is being seen in Igbo names that has been there for a long time now, but has been made very popular by social media. And I'm going to address this here. Ọtụtụ mgbe n'oge ugbu a, anyị na-ahụ ọtụtụ ndị eri, ndị jọ na ndị he Igbo anyị na-ahụzi n'aha ụmụafọ Igbo, ndị nne na nna gụrụ aha mana ka esi ede ya wee bụrụ nsogbu. Ya nwa mere anyị na-eji ahụzi aha ndị dị otu a. I just had this one recently. I just had this name recently. Unu chetara m aha ndị ọzọ ndị mmadụ na-ede with n'imi, N and M. Some of you are bearing these names. Can you all write one each? At least I've written Chidimma, Mmesoma, Chibusoma. What other names do we see that people write with Nimi, N, and M? There's hardly any way to say it better. Masi, ndewo. Okay, good. Alama. Okay. Ndewo, Chineye, na Beatrice. Okay. So the fact is that it doesn't matter how many names we list here now that people write with name that it is hard to pronounce. Machuku, Machuku. Bikono ụmụafọ Igbo. Ọ bụ na ị na-aza aha edere otu a, ya bụ na ọ bụ ihe nne na nna gị dere gị. You have Maduka. Okay, enwezikwa Maduka otu ahụ. Mere gịnị? Okay. Because you have an opportunity to rewrite it. It is completely wrong. Okay. The reason is so simple. This syllabic nasal does not interact with this letter mi maọbụ M, this consonant. It does not directly interact with it. So it is not her like. You know, Bible says like begets like, right? So this does not precede the consonant M. It doesn't. Yes, some even pronounce ma or ma. You're right. Beauty or okay, ma, ma, ma. Knife, So some even pronounce these two, write these two like this. It is bad, like terrible and out of the way. Okay? The reason is gị nwa n'onwe gị na-akpọpụta mkpụrụ okwu ndị a maọbụ ụda ndị a, Nnamdi. No, Nnamdi dị correct. Nnenna dị correct. Yeah, ndị a niile depụtara Nkiru, ndị a niile dị edesiri ha edezi. All right. So, gị nwa n'onwe gị ọ na-achị kpọpụta mkpụrụ okwu ndị a. Ọ rara ahụ for you to produce any of these words, being able to control your tongue and your lips to work simultaneously to produce any of these words. What do I mean? Then, mgbe m na-akpọpụta ya, my tongue went at the roof of my mouth to touch the alveolar and the palate, okay? When I was producing, ọnụ mechiri emechi, my mouth was closed, my lips were closed, and I was able to produce, okay? Rebecca Ndo, Dalo, thanks for joining us. Miss Tura, you're welcome. So I am unable to glide the production of this word by spreading my mouth and closing it at the same time immediately after. No, it doesn't work. You can't say nimma. You can't say nim. So the Igbo language does not support that articulatory movement or activity that you want to create. Now, why trying to make things difficult for us? Why what Igbo language people say is difficult to learn already? Why do you want to make it much, much more difficult for yourself, for the next person? Okay? We do not have silent sounds in Igbo. Silent consonants in Igbo. No. About vowels, we have assimilation, not silent. We can accommodate assimilation, which regressive, progressive, complete assimilation, and partial and all of that. We don't have a silent sound. That's one word that will give you assignment. If you pronounce this word Pusam when you when you made it the first time, I want you to give me a thumbs up. If you have pronounced this word as Pusam, give me thumbs up. Because we battle with this word in the Bible, Pusam. And this sword. As adults, there are still people who pronounce, sword as adults. You can't battle with that because you were born with English in your mouth. Okay. Beatrice, is it because it's tiny or am I blocking you? I know that YouTube does not give me a very bright picture. I wrote Psalm and then sword. So these are instances where letters or sounds are silent in English. Okay, because I'm writing with the red. Okay, I'll write with black. Okay, sorry. Wherever you see Psalm, okay, but it's written with a P, and then sword, the W is not pronounced. So e nwere ọtụtụ mkpụrụ okwu ndị dị otu a na bekee. N'Igbo, anyị enweghị ihe a na-akpọ silent letters or sounds, okay, or even chaos. Beatrice, the issue of chaos is even one of the worst of it all. And that's why Zebrodaya says chaos. And I agree with him. It's one of those English words that don't have any, that don't make sense at all how they are pronounced. Okay, so you can see when we claim, oh, Igbo language is difficult. Have you tried some of these words in English that pose a lot of problem for us? Okay, but what I want to, so Instagram is giving us problem. So please join on YouTube. YouTube is better. Thank you, IJ. Yeah. For Instagram, we've not seen how to change or mirror the things I'm writing on the board. So, okay. So we cannot produce Nema or the way out of the way. It's difficult. It's almost impossible. In fact, it's impossible. We cannot produce Nema, okay? But the language itself makes provision for us to produce Mma, not Nema, in any way. And this problem is more in today's naming in Igbo. Today's naming that has taken a different shape altogether. Parents today name their children in different way, bringing names to sound more on Igbo, more English, less Igbo. There are names you hear, you will not believe they are Igbo in any way, except you are an Igbo, especially when they are, called not in full. Okay, so having said this, we are going to see words where the is going to work as a prefix, okay? This one as a prefix, nganiru. Prefix. Ọ bụrụ na anyị gbakwunye ya mkpụrụokwu dịka je, verb, je, gịnị ka ọ ga-enye anyị? Gịnị ka ọ ga-enye anyị? What are we going to arrive at? When we have the prefix, I na-enwe possibilities of a variety of words. Chinenye, we will have nje, thank you. Nje. And remember, nje a dịka mkpụrụokwu nke enwetara site na ịgbakwunye dị iche na mgbe ị nwere nje nke bụ mkpụrụokwu n'ọrụ onwe ya na ọdịdị chi ya. Chigod o tekwala, kedụkwa n'ebe ị nọ? Happy New Year. Okay, Remember, it is completely different from when you have a natural word as nje, okay? Now, mgbe anyị nwere mkpụrụ okwu agbakwunyere dịka nganiru prefix attaching, cause Dalo, how are you? Thanks for following. Attaching to a verb root, we are going to get a variety of word possibilities. And that is because we can derive different kinds of words from it. So, let's say yes, we have nje, but this nje is not complete the way we often use it in Igbo. That does not mean that this is not an Igbo word. Nje. Okay? Now, this is one aspect of the derivative. This is a noun, nje. This word can further take something that looks like a suffix. Okay? And we have what? Njem. There's a lot of process, okay, going on here. Njem. Njem now has become a complete different category of word, which is what? Journey. Njem, journey. Okay? Another thing, cause is that cause you saw? Are you the same person? Good, Beatrice. Another thing that can happen to our nje is nka eba. I don't know why I did this. This particular nje can undergo another process. Because you saw, amazigom na igbanweziri aha TikTok go to cause. It's been a while. You've not been in class. Unu kupuru ka o si sọ aka n'ihi na ka o si sọ mụrụ nwa ọhụrụ and ọ na-akụziri ya Igbo. Nwa ya erubeghị otu afọ, ọ ka nọ a few months. Nne nwa ga nọ afọ ọnwa ole 4 or so or 3. And if you see where she is teaching that baby Igbo by reading, reciting the Abeche, watching the Igbo videos with her, you will be inspired. Oh, okay. Okay, this is a different course, sir. Okay. Ndewo course, sir. Thanks for joining us. So there's another course, sir, that, Kosolo, sorry, that joins my class. And she's a mother and she has a baby that is less than a year. I'm so inspired by how she teaches her Igbo. Okay. Course Sunday. Well, sorry for me mistaking you with my other friend, Kosolo, not Kosisa. The baby is learning well, Beatrice. And I want to about the concept of the Moses' mother, as the Bible tells us. Yeah, that's Kosolo. That Moses' mother was teaching her about his cultural, rather teaching him about his cultural identity as a baby. Sometimes I grew up Bible we don't really stop to think, how did she do it? But when I watch this lady's video where she is teaching Abeche na Hindozo to the baby, and her first baby speaks Igbo, born in America, and that goes back to what I was talking about with you, IJ. Parents, we need to do more. We are doing less. And this next generation we are producing will really, really hold us accountable. we are not doing enough. Some of us are even doing very bad jobs. No be alone ago, Bodo Igbo. Parents, if you are a parent, you're Igbo parent, and in a mumwage mobe moromoge in America, and omoge mobo Europe, mobo UK, mobo Canada, omogana Igbo, you have every blame, parents. Like, it doesn't even end in the blame. I'm not calling you out for nothing. I'm saying that you could have done more, and there's still an opportunity to do more. Because if I were your child and I start growing up and have identity crisis, it's not something good for any young person. But anyway, if you are the child of such parent and you've grown up, you now have an opportunity to rewrite your story and reposition yourself in your cultural identity. It begins with learning Igbo. And that is why we created Omenka app. So this class is brought to you by Omenka app under the Igbo Literacy Project. And we have a project that we are saying in the next 10 years, we want to educate all Igbo born, especially those born outside of Igbo land, who are not privy to acquiring Igbo when they were born. And you have an opportunity. When you download the app, it starts from the basics. It helps you to listen to Igbo words and know how they are pronounced, and also know their functions. There are so many more things we are putting into the app, but that word search is one of our strengths. It's one of our prides. It's one thing we have produced. We say yes, and we keep documenting more Igbo words into it. So get yourself Omenka app and attend class regularly. Ndewo. All right. Yes, very simple to use, especially if you are concentrated on the word search. If you go to the proverb, it's also there. Great. Because it's Sodalo. All right. So we have a project, Igbo Literacy Project. Help us join the community of Omenka and help us project the promotion of Igbo language. Okay. Yeah, the voicing is great. That's one thing we're very proud of. Yeah. And we concentrate the teaching of Igbo using the standard Igbo version. Okay. But we appreciate that when you speak your dialect for those that speak. But in writing, you need to know how to write the standard Igbo, and which is what we're teaching here today and every week. Right. So this particular word can also undergo another process, which is called, I said earlier, is called reduplication. Okay, name Chizi. Chizi, I'm name on a class kambe. Chizi, or work in Abia. Right. So this guy can multiply itself to give us njenje, which is also journey, travel. Njenje. Okay, the act of moving around, the act of going, could also mean wandering. We derive this word by adding a prefix. Okay. Ndewo Chizi. Chizi bịara late. So, by adding the prefix to J, for instance, okay, this same, yes, wakadukwe, this same process can also happen when we have, for instance, plus me, okay, will give us what? Me. But this me now is not a complete word in Igbo used. in a sentence construction. We cannot. So there is a burden, a mandatory process of reduplication that should happen for us to derive the complete word, which has a complete meaning in Igbo. So the me will now have to reduplicate plus me to give us meme. Meme is what? Ụmụafọ Igbo, gịnị bụ mmemme? Gịnị ka a ga-akpọ ya na Bekee? What is mmemme in English? Ceremony? What other words can mean mmemme? Mmemme in Igbo. What other words in English can mean mmemme? Celebration? Cheesy. Suwade. Okay. No, Kingsley, can be occupation, activity, yes. Occasion, yes. Cheesy. Okay, Cheesy, is that one on the news? Oh yeah, I had screwdriver put Trump's bombing. Oh, so good. Okay. Events. Meme. Yeah, okay. Events. Meme. Okay. Another word for it in Igbo, emume. Can also say emume. All right, that is meme. Meme, and we have seen how it is derived. It is not a natural word on its own. It's derived. And the derivative approach or process is by adding the prefix n to me, verb. And the same word, the word we are arrived at, reduplicating itself or multiplying itself by giving us the word meme. Party can also be meme. Anything that has to do with people gathering and All right. So the thing is that anything today that is talking ill about the Igbo on social media is trending. The Igbophobia is real, okay? So it's good when you are able to join such conversations to defend your cultural identity. There's every reason for people of Nigeria to fear the Igbo people to hate them. You don't blame them at all. And I don't care getting into such conversations. All I do is to show who I am and show it to the point that if you want to hate, you hate more. If you want to be scared, you scare them more and scare the hell out of your head, because I will always be Igbo, and I am going to proudly show that I am Igbo, because unless you do not know, we are a different species, okay? Yeah. So the only aspect of what goes on social media about the Igbo, the bad mouthing of the Igbo, that pains me is when several young Igbo who are not privileged to know the Igbo history join in such bad mouthing. Okay? We don't want to. So when you know the history of the Igbo, you know that you should not care about what anybody, whether it's in Nigeria or outside, thinks about the Igbo. You can't do anything about that. And such hate cannot depreciate the Igbo people. That is why we're doing this. The more you identify, the more you plug into your cultural identity, the prouder you become. Because at least you can speak Igbo. Not when you don't have the tongue And then maybe because you are born in Lagos or outside, you speak Hausa or Yoruba, whatever, and you think that, oh, you join in that conversation to say Igbo, this and that. That's you are doing yourself, because you are showing your ignorance. You cannot even, you don't even know what you're doing. All right. So anyway, that was good, Cheesy. I'm glad you finally found your way into the class. All right. So we have this meme. I'm going to go ahead and give a couple of other examples, and we begin to do some revision about it, and then I will touch a little bit of what I game next week. And so we have spent, okay, not up to 1 hour 30 minutes so far, so we still have more time, a little bit to go. All right. So I want you to take note. I hope you've really taken note of this. All right. So you will see that here now, was able to join with J. That is the kind of words it will be able to take. Okay. Like I said, they are all very, very selective. It cannot go with neither can go with together in what you might see as a consonant cluster. They do not. Okay. Now, what I'm going to touch is on those words each of them can go with to give us words. So it's important we listen to that. A few weeks back, last year, I think in November, we hosted a conference here for social media, activists and influencers, Ndi Igbo, who are actively on social media. And we saw some of these, examples. This guest speaker that day, Nyerayaka, he uttered some of these things. So because we're looking at those of you that are on social media, you being able to understand Igbo language more can help you to create your Igbo content and be proud of what you are creating. But when you're writing Igbo and you're writing it wrongly, the social media algorithm keeps picking up the wrong Igbo is wrong. Chukwu na-azoku. Chukwu na-azoku. Dalo. That sounds like 21st century name. Chukwu na-azoku. Ndewo. So we are on TikTok. This is your first time. You are joining on Instagram. You can join on TikTok or YouTube if you want to see the unmirrored version of what I'm writing, because it is mirrored on Instagram. All right. So also will not go with any word that begins with that can be pronounced or produced with the two lips. Okay. So cannot go with B. No. Oh, sorry. It can. Yes. Yes. Will not go with B. It is not a productive production. A productive construction, rather. Okay. It is not expected to go with P, because in the articulatory graph, these two are produced in this on the same point. P, B, P, B. Is not expected to go with either of them. Okay. They are produced using the two lips. Okay. But should be able to go with any word that is produced by the tongue still resting on the roof of your mouth, because the tongue is already there. So because it's there, ọ gaghị arara ya ahụ ịkpọpụta mkpụrụ okwu ahụ. Ma ọ bụrụ na ebe ahụ iru anyị nọ n'elu, anyị na-achọ iwepụta ya, mechizie ọnụ anyị ka eji egbugbere ọnụ kpọọ okwu ahụ. That is where we create a problem. Okay? All right. Chioma, ndewo. Is that Chioma Dollar? Dalo, thanks for following. Ama m na nke a bụ mbụ ị na-esonye anyị. Anyị na-anọ ebe a ụbọchị Mọnde niile mgbe ọ kụrụ elekere 7 nke mgbede nke oge Nigeria ma ọ bụ elekere mbụ nke ehihie nke ọwụwa anyanwụ ndị bi na America. All right. So that is 7 p.m. West African or Nigerian time and 1 p.m. Eastern time. Every Monday, we have the class. Saturdays, we discuss culture, and we usually have guest speakers. And we are going to be starting from, I believe, the last Saturday of this month. That's when we'll resume that class. We have been on break on the cultural discussion. And also, my class that I teach 8:30 EST will also resume on the 26th. It's on Mondays. So starting from next week, Monday, I'll be teaching 2 classes, one in the morning, one in the evening. And the evening one, I teach in person students, Igbo students, born and that are growing up overseas or outside of Igbo land. And I teach these classes. Right, I bido that class. I will let you know what we're doing. But this particular semester, I go akwụkwọ ejije, Igbo drama. Then I go akwụkwọ Chinua Achebe nke akpọrọ Things Fall Apart. That's what we'll be doing. And then we'll be extracting words. Mkpụrụokwu ndị anyị na-enweta na akwụkwọ ndị ahụ anyị na-agụ kọwaa ha. We use those words, those books, to learn Igbo words. We'll be emphasizing the Igbo proverbs, their meanings, Igbo idioms, akpaalaokwu, and other figurative speeches we have in Igbo, how they are used in writing, in literature. Okay, so these are things that we'll be doing, so important, to us, because part of learning language is learning the culture associated with that language. And so many different words have cultural meanings that are different from the contextual meaning. So how do you use them? When you use a figurative speech, you find out that the meaning is not in the sentence. The meaning is beyond the sentence. So ọ bụrụ na ịmụta asụsụ ịmụtabeghị ka ụdị okwu ndị a si arụ ọrụ is a problem. You will still, ọ bụrụ na nna gị ma ọ bụ nne gị ọ bụ onye ọzọ tụọrọ gị ilu, ị ga-aghọta ya, nsogbu dị. N'ihi na ndị Igbo sị ọ bụrụ na atụọrọ gị ilu kọwara gị ya, ego eji lụọ nne gị mere gịnị lara n'iyi ofuru ọhịa. Usekwu stands for the roses. Okay. So anyị na-eji in so many different ways na-akụziri ụmụafọ Igbo Igbo. We are associated also in collaboration with Usekwu Foods, who is one of our highest gifters here, and giving us a lot of roses and gifts. And they do teaching of how to cook in Igbo, especially Igbo foods, Igbo meal. And that happens on Sundays. That class just started not quite long. And as time goes on, we will know other days that they are able to do their class. So if you want to learn how to make fufu and egusi soup, which is, one of the most popular here in this side of the world that we live in, so join Usekwu Foods. And for those of you that do not know, Usekwu means kitchen. I know it's one word that so many Igbo people do not know what the meaning is. Usekwu means kitchen. Usekwu Food means food made in the kitchen. So their live program that they teach cook online happens on Sundays. That is, I guess, 2 p.m. Eastern time. All right. That was that. Okay. But can go with letters that are produced at the alveolar ridge or velar, such as n, g, k, ch, z, l, ng, re, se, she. They can go with T, D, V, nye, nwere ọzọ m na-echefu. Okay. Nwere ajụjụ. Greeting, Queen Salome daalụ. Queen Salome bụ nwa afọ Igbo. Ikele anyị n'Igbo. Oh, ndewo. Thanks for joining us. All right. Me bụ nke ya na B ga-aganwu, P ga-aganwu, ya na nwi ga-aganwu. Oh no, nke so ya, ya na V ga-aganwu. Nwere ọzọ m na-echefu. Nke a na kwe ga-aganwu. Na gwi okay, ugbu a aga m enye unu ihe omume. I want us to teach us. Those on TikTok and YouTube, you are active. I want you to teach your peers. Achọrọ m ka ị were gbakwunye na mkpụrụ edemede ndị a maọbụ mkpụrụ ụda ndị a wee mebe mkpụrụ okwu. One word each. Use this prefix. I'm cleaning this one. Use the as syllabic nasal prefix. Add it to any of these and produce a word for me and for our fellow students. Yes, so our time called the Beatrice is pulling force. Oya Osugo. Hey, Yoketia, any word. Yoketia, have you been in this class? You have formed the habit of coming late and spoiling my register, Yoketia. I'm going to give you suspension. You're welcome, Yoketia. All right, Obidogo. Beatrice, we're starting with Ngo, number. Ncha, soap. I'm getting vibes from YouTube already. TikTok, let's go. Use the add to all of this and produce one word each. We have gotten. Please, when you produce a word, write the English equivalent, okay? Nke, which. I am the modest poet. Dalo, you are the modest poet. Thanks for joining on Instagram. Nna, father. Beatrice, gene u spoon. I am here spoon. Yoketia, nwa ezuyoke. I just need one word, not a sentence. So when you write nwa, you didn't. All right. I am the modest poet. Dalo. Ndewo. Obona ihe a na-ede, ọ gara aka ịkpa na Instagram, okay? Mana ọ dịziri na YouTube and TikTok, in case you really want to be part of the class and to follow what I'm writing. Aka na m enwe nsogbu ịma ka esi ahazigharị ya na Instagram. Nro point. Beatrice. Nro. Okay, I've not really heard this word before. The letters again, bo, ni, gi, ke, chi, zi, li, ni, ri, si, shi, ti, di, nye, kwi, gwe. Ha niile na-agakọ with the syllabic nasal. Okay. Right. Nkita, yoketua. Good. Nkita. That's fine. Ngugu. Ngugu package. Nruaka. Okay. Pointing of finger. Better. Wanza. Nza. Bird. Beautiful. Yoketua. What is gwa? Gwa is not complete. Check what you wrote, okay? Nza, bird. Nkiti. Nkiti bugene Beatrice. Yeah, I want everybody to complete the words using the letters. Okay, nkiti, bankiti, nkiti, okay. You know that nkiti and nkiti, there are two different words, right, Beatrice? Do you know the other nkiti? The one that says nkiti. What is the English equivalent? Nkwe, positive. Okay, that is to agree. Nkwe. Nye is not correct. It's not complete. You can share. Go is not complete. It's not correct. So see what is missing. You must add the n. It has to follow. When you say nye is what we call a digraph. It's one sound. Nyere is not complete. You can hear. Think. The other one is nothing or idle. So nkiti is nothing. Nkiti is also idle. All right. Thank you, Beatrice. Nkeji, minutes. Nzu, chalk. Right. Okay. Nkwe is also yes. So you can see what you are doing with NY is you are producing one sound. Ni is a sound. You must add it the prefix for it to be complete, and it has to be an Igbo word, okay? Nganga, pride. Nganga, pride. Yep. Pride. Yeah, ndi YouTube, swag na noku. You are Sharp Brain Academy. I'm proud of you. Nkata. Nkata. Chat or discussion. You see why, the English word comes? Because we are not doing tone mark here. Chizi, can you write the other one? Nkata. What does it mean? Beatrice, Nyemaka is not correct. Something is missing. Check here. Nyemaka. No. Igbakwunyeghị nọ n'ime ya. All right. Ndị TikTok unu na the form my handle. Nkata, plan. Okay. Enwekwe ndị na-akpọ nkata basket. Like it's either ekete or nkata. Okay, same. Nyemaka, beautiful, Beatrice. Nyemaka, which is what? Help. That's why we have nyemaka ngwa, auxiliary verb. You can see tufuomba. You are not adding the n, the n. Nshiko. So Chineye, I will not take nshiko because nshiko will not be a derived word. It should be a word in its natural state. Okay? Nshiko bụ mkpụrụokwu nọrọ onwe ya n'ọnọdụ chi ya. All right? So, mba. All right. That is very, very encouraging, especially from my YouTube class. That is encouraging. Thank you so much. Okay. Anyị enyechala ha niile, nwe onye m hụrụ tinyere zi ma ọ bụ lee ma ọ bụ ṅụ. Ahụghị m ha atọ. Ahụghị m chi. Ahụghị m chi. Nwe onye m hụrụ ji chi na zi na lee na ṅị na ri. Okay, ahụrụ m ri, nrụ aka. Uzuzu, kedụkwanụ nọ na ya? Nchọta. Nchọta. What is nchọta? Finding. Ncha. Oh, yeah. Ahụrụ m ncha. Okay. I think I cancel ncha as well. Chineye. Ncha should not be there because it's not a derived word. Okay? Even ncha is not. Lele, good. Observing, lele, observing. No, yoketia, and way mpota is it doesn't go. If you look at what I wrote on the board, you shouldn't do mpota. Nzuko, fine. Nzuko, yep. Nzuko is a derived word. Nzuko, unumakuko. You all are Sharp Brain Academy. Nzuko. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Nzuko. Yeah, those that are giving thumbs up and 100% on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you. Nrụrụ aka. Yes. Nrụrụ aka. Beautiful. Beautiful. Akwa mkpụrụ mmadụ ole mere ihe omume a? Nzere, avoid. Enwekwara another meaning of nzere. Beatrice, can you remember? Another meaning of nzere. Avoid or what? Chetea. What is another meaning for nzere? No, not meandering. No. Nzere pụtara degree. Na mmadụ nwetara nzere ya, nzere nke bachelor's ma ọ bụ master's. Ọ bụ nzere. That is degree. Okay. Degree. Ma ọ bụ asambodo. Ihe a na-enweta ma mmadụ gụchaa akwụkwọ. Ma ọ bụkwa nke a na-enye mmadụ n'ihe o ruru ya. Yeah, nzere PhD, something like that. Okay. All right. Ngwa ka anyị meenụ ya na ndị ya na ha so aga. Unu emeela, unu gbalịrị. Nsọrọ, yeah, nsọrọ as well. Sochi Vega. Ka anyị meenụ na ndị ya na ha so aga. One word each. Nzọpụta, salvation. Beautiful. Beautiful. You see, when you are challenged, you think outside of the box. Mpụta, yes. Mpụta. Nke mbụ, mpụta, which is coming out. Coming out to run for election, to do whatever. Mbo, rather, trying. Enwekwara mbo maọbụ mvo, right? Mwepu, to remove. Thank you, Chinenye. Mwepu. Chizi, ajụjụ ahụ ọ dabakwara n'ihe anyị na-amụ. Mkpụrụ okwu ka m chọrọ, Chizi. Mba, rebuke. Mba, nne na nna na-abara ụmụ ha mba, ọkwa ya? Mbuli elu, mbuli. Mvonel maọbụ comb. Comb is either mbo or mvo. Then mvo aka maọbụ mbọ aka is nail. Okay. Mmụta, learning. Thank you. Cheesy. Mba, is it shoulder? I'm not sure of that. Maybe spoiling something. Shoulder. Mba, nation. Good. Nation. Right. Thank you. Uno bo dachi. Uno bo dachi. Uno ma ihe ekwe na akụ. Mbaise, 5 nation. Mba 5. Yoketia n'obodo adabaghị. Mbaise. Hey, Beatrice bụ onye Mbaise. Mba 5. Right. No, Yoketia is not correct. Myo, sieve. Chinenye, thank you. Ịbụ onye nkuzi. Myo, sieve. Chize, I don't know where. I've not heard about mba or mba as shoulder, so I can't help with that. I'm not sure that ubu maọbụ ngo. So some people say ubu. So I think more standard is ubu or so. Mbitoli, 9 nation. Yeah, ndị aba ahụ obodo ndị anyị nwere ha na ha so. Ngalaba, that is the other one. Section. Ngalaba section. That's so beautiful. Right. So, okay, unu agbaliala ụmụafọ Igbo. Ngo is rib. Dialects in Imo say na-agba shoulder, ngo, not ngo. Then small standard is ubu. Okay, I don't know. I've not heard of mba or mba as shoulder. Mana anyị na-ekwu idamba. The letter above V. Nwi, that is MW. Nwi. Right. Mebu. So you all know all of these omomato. Onuma omomato nda niile. You have an idea of these expressions. What ihem gacho ichetara mvokom pona. Whenever you see words like this, remember they are words derived. You see that most of the words unu depụtara ebe a nouns. Okay? Mbo, nail. Yeah, mbazo can be, but I'm not sure of shoulder as mba. Yeah, I wish if you add tone mark, I will try to pronounce it. Okay. Yeah, maybe there's a dialect that calls shoulder that, but I don't know. All right. So most of these words unu na-ahụ, chetanụ mgbe ọbụla unu na-ahụ mkpụrụokwu ndị dị otu a, mara na mkpụrụokwu ndị a bụ mkpụrụokwu ndị emebere, ndị enwetara site n'ịgbakwunye nganiru n'ihu ngwa. Okay? It's okay, Chizzy. It's even awesome that you are paying attention if you are multitasking. You're doing great. Thank you. So, but also why we know that, it's important for us to know that not all words that look this way, Chineke, okay, ana m anọchi ụzọ, or Neka, kedu nke na ahụ on a board. Know that not all words that we have written out, or rather that we can encounter in a text or whatever, is derived or are derived. For instance, there was a time Chineke wrote ncha, and I said no. Ncha is not derived. It's it's a word on is not in its natural state. Okay. She also mentioned in Shiko. I said no. In Shiko is also a word in its natural state. It was not derived. Okay. So, but many or most of the words we wrote, they are derived. And they are derived when we added a prefix to the verb. That is bringing a particular word in front of the verb. So, odemba kaimatana otaka isi nwete mkpụrụokwu nda. Okay. Now, from the example I gave, ị ga-ahụ na ụfọdụ n'ime ha ga-enwe mgbanwe ọzọ dị iche ka iji nwetakwa okwu ọzọ dị iche. Dịka mgbe anyị nwetara nje, ise na anyị nweta nje. Okay. Mgbe anyị nwetara mme, anyị nweta mmemme. Okay. Otu a ka mkpụrụokwu ndị a niile ụfọdụ n'ime ha na-agbanwe. Anyị nwetakwara onwere dere m izi ngongo or something like that. So some of them can undergo further changes. Yeah, ngaji for the other one, for us to be able to realize a different kind of word. Nick, amam ihe na ahụ or board nke na ahụ. As far as I know, I think YouTube is clear from where I'm standing. Okay. Right. So Agamasina, by today's class, we've been able to treat extensively the process of prefixation, which helps us to derive a word that might either stay in the state or category it was originally, or that would change a category. What that means is that when we say prefixation, we are talking about when we add something to the verb, in front of the verb. So, I hụrụ na anyị mee ya, anyị na-enweta mkpụrụokwu ndị dị iche ụfọdụ mgbe. Emeka daalụ, ndewo. Thanks for joining. So, anyị hụrụ na ọ bụrụ na anyị tinye gbakwunye okwu n'ihu ngwa, anyị enweta mkpụrụokwu ọzọ. Ụfọdụ mkpụrụokwu ndị a na-agbanwe, they change their category from verb to noun, right? Whereby some don't. But mostly, you find out that change now, nkudosi ndewo, now that we are adding the syllabic nasal and the same thing played out when we added o or o. Okay, we got these similar examples. Remember, we started the prefixation by discussing the infinitives, and I derive infinitives by adding E or A. I'm going to write it with this one. E or A. Yanwa bụ nke mbụ anyị lebara anya. Ya bụ mgbakwunye nganiru nke mbụ anyị lebara anya. E or A. Okay. Then I wee hụkwa A or A. Wee hụ O or O. Then I agazie na N na N. Ndị a bụ nganiru ndị enwere n'Igbo. These are prefix markers that we have in Igbo language. Prefix markers. In Igbo. I don't know if I'm forgetting anyone. What do prefix markers do for us? They help us to derive or to expand vocabulary by adding them to the front of the verb. And then we create words. The words we create can stay as verbs or can change their functions to become nouns. Right. One thing we would remember and do not forget is that na class ya n'ime class ya ihe anyị na-amụ bụ ka esi ede Igbo. Okay? What we are looking at focusing on is how to write Igbo correctly. So, also know that whenever we added the prefix to these letters to derive a word, and these are words, letters that should have given us a verb, we write them together with a verb. The difference is when these are pronouns, we don't write them together. That's the difference. Please let that rest in our head. Okay? All right. Now, site n'izu na-abịa abịa, aga m asị na emechago m ihe gbasara mgbakwunye nganiru. I will say that I am done teaching the prefixation that helps us to understand the different kinds of Igbo words we can create or derive. Another way we look at the verb, those who have been here, remember, we are looking at the Igbo word, Mkpụrụokwu Igbo, aspects of the Igbo word. When we started it, we first of all looked at the nouns. But the nouns do not create much of a problem for us because many of them are not in their natural state. And then we looked at the pronouns. And the pronouns created some problem for us when we saw that the pronoun a and a, ọtụtụ mgbe ndị mmadụ na-edekọta ya ọnụ, and people get confused. Okay, we discussed that extensively. I'm sure regular attendants to the class or attendees to the class, you have known that. The only problem when practicing them is where I know majority of the people have a problem. Okay, so yes. Yeah, Beatrice, thank you. I'm happy also you are no longer the only person learning on YouTube. Gradually, more people are joining us on YouTube. Yeah, and all them I batana class, I need so na judge interaction. It improves the algorithm of the program on YouTube, on TikTok, So thank you, all of those that are, Ndi Barambo made contribution today, especially on YouTube. You see, more people joined us. On YouTube, at the end of the day, I will see 37, 30 something. While on TikTok, we have much more people joining us. So those that are joining, please be steadfast and let's keep sharing the broadcast. So n'izu na-abịa abịa ihe anyị gaji ịmụ bụ agaji ilebazi anya na suffixes. Mgbakwunye, you see that I have created a word that has a shape of ihe anyị na-amụ today. Mgbakwunye. How did we create mgbakwunye? Can somebody split mgbakwunye for us? Can somebody split mgbakwunye for us? What are the different elements that made up mgbakwunye? How did we arrive at mgbakwunye? Ada Zion, Ndoma, Ndewo, daughter of Zion. Not syllables. Mgbakwunye, no. Beatrice, no. What are the word particles that came together to give us mgbakwunye? Not into syllables. How did we arrive at mgbakwunye? Mgbakwunye. Does anybody know? It's just a typical example of what we're doing. Okay. So we got mgbakwunye by adding as a prefix to mgbakwunye. This is a verb. It's a verb on its own. Mgbakwunye is a word. Yeah. Mgbakwunye, not gwa. Yeah, prefix and verb root. Mgbakwunye, chineye, yeah. This is a prefix. This is a verb. Mgbakwunye is one word. Okay? Which means add, addition. Okay? Mgbakwunye is add. So when we add to it, it gives us addition, right? Mgbakwunye. Okay, so yeah, not splitting it into prefixes. Okay, right. So in the next week, we are going to be looking at mgbakwunye nsonaazụ. Nsonaazụ, which is what? Suffix. Suffixes. Now, how did we arrive at nsonaazụ? Nsonaazụ is another word that was created. Beers beats. Kedu otu anyị si nweta nsonaazụ? You see, we are seeing examples of these words now as we write. I na-ahụzi ha, and ọ bụ na ịbụ onye na-ege ntị ihe anyị na-eme ka mgbe ị gara ahụzi na-ele mkpụrụ okwu ma ọ bụ na-ede ha, your brain will be bringing you to, oh, is this word derived? Was it created by adding a prefix, or is it a word on its own, naturally, and all of that? So your brain will be working that way. That is to say that you have come to the consciousness of derivatives, where we add a prefix to a verb or verb root and we get a word and all of that. So for nsonaazụ as well, which is an example of what we did today, how did we arrive at nsonaazụ? In the TikTok, in the YouTube, in the Instagram. How did we arrive at nsonaazụ? Mm-hmm. Who will try? How do we get nsonaazụ? Wahala there. Chizi adịka politics akpọrọla gị lawa. Is that by following Tinubu n'ike n'ike like Yeso Nwike? Hey. Beatrice, what is the prefix? What is the main word? That's what I want to know. By following Tinubu n'ike like Yeso Nwike. So that might be n'ike like Yeso Nwike. All right. That's on a lighter mood. I tell you. How did we arrive at this word, nsonaazụ? Nsonaazụ. How did we arrive at it? So it's a typical example of what we did today. And like I said, yeah, I know. It's a beautiful rhyme. I'm just giving us a heads up. Okay, we are done here for today with prefixes. Or we're gonna give a visit here also. That will be later. Okay, let me save us the time as we begin to wind down. So the word nsonaazụ was derived. It took a lot of processes. Okay. So the first process is not supposed to be a word. It is supposed to be a clause. Well, cheesy, mba, aboya. It is supposed to be a clause. Okay, so nazu, okay, closer. But first of all, okwesịbụ so nazu. Okay, so nazu, which means follow. Then to make it to change the form a little bit. So this is so. This is the toma. And this so is in its natural or lexical form, okay? Nazu is a phrase that complements so. For instance, ọ na m sị gị so, o nwere ike ị ga-aghọta ihe m kwuru. Okay, you might think na m kwuru bekee, so like so or so. But when I say so nazu means follow. But if I want to get the full meaning of how to use this in a sentence, I will not say iso nazu, which means now to follow. Remember, this is a prefix, which is what? An infinitive. Iso nazu. Also remember that there's no time any one of these is a word. None of them is a word. It cannot be a word. Okay? It is a clause. Iso nazu. But the Igbo language allows you, when you bring the prefix to the entire clause iso nazu, you are able to do a lot of damages to some of them and create a new form altogether. No, clauses are not words, Beatrice. Clauses are a group of words that have finite verb and possibly with meanings. Phrases are not even words. Phrases are also a group of words. So for clauses, they have finite verbs, and I believe, do they have a subject? No. Okay. Right. So when you bring this guy as a prefix, which of course the language allows for you to bring a prefix to interact with a whole clause, you are able to create a new word, nsonazo. In this case, what did you damage? Like I use figuratively, you are canceling canceling apostrophe, and ensuring the insertion of this guy na as, and it is not supposed to be swallowed or assimilated. Yeah, they're made up of words. Okay, to create nsona azo, because now is one word, I get up with apostrophe, I get up with the which was the infinitival format of it, because we have now come with a new guy, a new sheriff is in town, the new prefix, which is nsonazo. That's what we got, and that gives us suffix so na a zo. That is the tone of the word. So na a zo. That is low, 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 high. Story for another day. When once we are talking about tone mark, man, we are in for some boozes. All right. Anyị abịala na njedebe ihe ọmụmụ nke ụbọchị taa. Anyị ejirile nkeji 14 gafee oge anyị. Arịọ m na-arịọ anyị dịka m kwuru na mbido bụ ka anyị gbaa mbọ na-abịa n'oge, ka anyị gbakwa mbọ na-ekesa ihe ọmụmụ a ebe a, ka ụmụafọ Igbo ndị kwesịrị ịnọ ịbịa n'ihe ọmụmụ a nwee ike ịmara maka ya. I bet you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Igbo speakers, especially who have a need of ịmụta asụsụ Igbo, amaghị maka ihe anyị na-akụzi ebe a. And we don't mind, repeating all of this. Or wanna, people have more interest in it. But doing this, yes, that's what we want to do. So the class is not really for a section of people. The class is for everyone, because I want to see myself in one day being corrected by somebody who knows better than I do, when I'm teaching. Just like I was getting confused categorizing the Odamfe and Odaro. And somebody said no, I just opposed it, I mixed it up together. So I was able to correct it. And sincerely, I get confused with that. Nkebo, Odaro, and Odamfe. But I know what I'm talking about now. I know the group, but their names my brain wasn't working well with it, until I was corrected twice and I got it. So it is also for class in the Igbo Kariam, who are also supposed to be here to ginger us all. So the more we share, the more we tell people about this, the more we evangelize, the more Igbo speakers and non-native Igbo speakers who can learn from this. So I greet you all. If you have not downloaded Omenka app, please do well and get yours, and tell your friends about Omenka app. Let's join this community of Igbo promoters. We have a work to do. Okay. I don't know how else to express it, if not to say thank you for being in the class. If you are not here, I wouldn't be teaching the screen myself. So more people need to join us on YouTube. We belong to several different WhatsApp groups and other groups. Kaigwa Hamaka class here, Mondays, 7 p.m. Nigerian time, 2 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. It's okay, Cheesy. I think you were also there doing some good work defending the Igbo identity. Yeah. Thank you, Beatrice. I appreciate you really good. I wish we had opportunity. I had the opportunity of seeing my students here and being able to look into all of your faces to thank you for really, coming here. That would have been wonderful. But I really, really appreciate all of you who have been coming here to learn. And I'm going to be very, very careful to search out those that intentionally spoil my register. Not all of you. Okay, so appreciate you so much. So those on TikTok, this Sorai for the first time today. I can't remember your names. Cheesy for President 2027. Ogagi mano Peter Obi aka n'ihu now. I chọrọ na Peter Obi ka ọ gaa Chizi ọ gaa ebe ahụ ọ ga-emebiri anyị ihe. Chizi so na ADC. So thank you Usekwu Food for wonderful roses and then multiple gifts and all of that. And all of those who gave gifts, who tapped on the screen, who did assignments, who encouraged. Francine, it's important to know that my family is here also learning with me, okay? And so I appreciate them today as well. So Beatrice, I think you are the monitor now of the YouTube class, okay? I think Orurugi. So we elect you the monitor, the class prefect of the YouTube class, and your assignment is make sure that I know that's correct, my sister. Okute is a strong man. We give him our support. So Beatrice, make sure that everybody comes to class early next week. Okay, let's form this community on YouTube, on TikTok, and let's make it strong. Okay. She's a noise makers. Thank you, Segufu. Thank you for the heart. Jesus, so you gotta be careful. You will be number one on noise makers. Chineye, thank you so much. You were the first. So Kaikoro Chineye kind of YouTube, she was the first, to be here, and she was here till the end of the class. Chineye Boyen Kuzibo, one of those that I'm proud of. Okay, and I appreciate you, Ne. Thank you so much. Dozia Koneka, thanks for joining us, okay, today as well. So my TikTok fans, you are big. So all of you, I heart all of you, okay. Kodru no maka Chukwu Okike abịa ma gọzie ụmụafọ Igbo niile. Chinoye daalụ them. All right. Ka anyị hụ nụ n'izu na-abịa ebe Beatrice, Chizzy. Oh yeah. I enjoyed the class today because of you. Oh, thank you. All right. Aga m ahụ nụ n'izu na-abịa ebe Chukwu gọzie unu. Bye bye.